Before we dive in, I've got something important to share. My channel might be small right now, but here's the deal. You'll get real, honest news every single day. I upload videos daily, breaking down markets, trends, and signals that most people miss. And here's the kicker. If you follow along, this channel could grow faster than you expect. Maybe even outpace your favorite sports channels. Stick around, because what I'm about to show you isn't a clickbait. It's the inside story that could change how you see the markets. Let's get started. Today, we are diving into a market move that most people will dismiss as noise until it hits them too late. We'll break down three phases. First, what just happened in gold and silver that has surprised even seasoned traders. Second, the hidden signals most analysts are missing because they only watch numbers on a screen. And third, the pressure points quietly building behind the scenes that could trigger a dramatic shift in 2026. By the end of this video, you'll see why liquidity is tighter than it appears, why physical demand is a far stronger signal than paper prices, and why a single event, small on the surface, could set off a chain reaction the system isn't prepared for. If you think markets move slowly, think again. This is a story about anticipation, psychology, and behavior, not headlines. And yes, there's a final revelation that will flip the conventional view of metals entirely. Markets don't just move, they stretch, they snap, they react to forces most people never see. When gold adds hundreds of dollars in days and silver spikes double digits while the crowd is still planning their month, we're not talking about a slow trend. We're talking about a system under pressure, where liquidity is thinner than it appears, positioning is crowded, and sentiment is shifting faster than analysts can write forecasts. Most commentary focuses on price targets from big institutions, $5,000 gold, $100 silver, or other distant predictions. These numbers are comforting, but they're narratives, not signals. When actual prices approach these levels ahead of schedule, those voices often go quiet or warn of pullbacks. Actions, not words, reveal the real story. Physical markets tell a different story than spot prices. Spot is abstract, a number on a screen. Physical supply is layered, mint allocations, shipping schedules, dealer risk management. When demand spikes, premiums stretch first, products become scarce next, and back orders form quickly. By the time mainstream media reacts, the market has already moved faster than most can respond. This isn't panic, it's structural stress. The public doesn't need perfect timing, they only need to act in the same direction. Lines that trade shows, mint pauses, and back orders aren't anecdotes, they're early warning signals. Pauses in operations indicate strain, scarcity drives urgency, and urgency amplifies behavior. Layer on top systemic pressure, debt, leverage, commercial real estate, and global currency shifts. The Federal Reserve can't print confidence. Debt spirals are self-reinforcing. Treasury market stress ripples across the financial system. Commercial real estate carries hidden leverage. Global experiments with alternative currencies quietly reduce demand for the dollar. Hard assets like gold and silver act as the system's smoke detectors. They don't require inflation spikes to rise. They respond to confidence decay. Central banks hold gold as insurance, not nostalgia. Physical metals are tangible, immediate, and resilient. Trust erodes, and tangibility gains value. Understanding these dynamics isn't optional, it's essential. Price alone doesn't tell the story. You need to watch behavior, availability, systemic stress, and human psychology. This is the framework for understanding why metals move before the crowd, why infrastructure strain matters, and why early positioning captures opportunity while latecomers chase volatility. Markets breathe, stretch, and snap. Gold and silver aren't just assets. They are barometers, measuring trust, liquidity, and systemic stress. Anyone who ignores these signals risks being reactive. Those who see them early can act decisively. That's the difference between following headlines and being ahead of the system. In the first few weeks of 2026, gold and silver didn't just move, they exploded. Gold added hundreds of dollars in what felt like a blink, and silver ripped higher by double digits. And this wasn't triggered by a single headline, rate announcement, or geopolitical flare-up. It was the culmination of positioning, thin liquidity, and physical demand that had been quietly building for months. To understand the move, we need to separate spot prices from physical demand. Spot is just a number on a screen. Physical supply is a system. Mint allocations, shipping schedules, dealer risk management, and inventory layers. When physical demand spikes, it doesn't just nudge prices. It creates structural tension. Premiums stretch first, popular products go on back order next, and suddenly buyers are left asking, what can I actually get today? That's stress. That's a market being tested. The difference matters because most analysis misses it. 2 months ago, the market was described as slow, steady, maybe later this year. 2 weeks into the year, the tone changed. Wait, did we just teleport to the forecast? Banks and institutions love publishing far-off price targets. They're safe, sound smart, and avoid urgency. But when prices sprint toward those targets early, those same voices fall silent or start warning about pullbacks, simultaneously pushing paper products that keep control in the system. Physical demand behaves differently. The public doesn't need to be right. They just need to act in unison. Thousands lining up at trade shows, back orders forming at mints, popular coins disappearing within hours. These aren't cute stories. They're data points signaling cultural and behavioral shifts. People are moving from spectators to participants. And when behavior aligns in the same direction, it amplifies moves faster than anyone expects. We also saw infrastructure strain. Mint pauses and temporary sales suspensions aren't failures. They're risk control. If a mint sells product at a price behind spot, it becomes the cheapest available supply for minutes and everything gets snapped up. Then they're left with angry customers and operational headaches. Pauses tell you something crucial. The system is under stress, moving faster than it was designed to handle. Scarcity perception feeds urgency. Urgency drives more demand, and the loop repeats, tightening the market layer by layer. The early phase of this move wasn't chaotic. It was deliberate. Informed buyers acted first, capturing opportunity before the crowd even realized a move was underway. Pullbacks during this phase weren't traps. They were invitations. Those who anchored decisions to perfect spot prices risked being left behind, watching a rapid shift unfold from the sidelines. Finally, this phase highlights a critical truth. The market reacts to psychology, behavior, and system constraints, not just headlines. Gold and silver moved quickly because the foundation, physical supply, infrastructure limits, human behavior, was already under pressure. Spot numbers were just the visible tip of a much larger invisible iceberg. Phase 1 sets the stage for what comes next. The explosive, emotion-driven behavior of the crowd, the rapid feedback loops, and the pressure points quietly building behind the scenes. If you didn't see the early signals, Phase 2 will feel sudden, even though it was predictable all along. The system always gives hints. You just have to know where to look. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are looking at the wrong signals. They track spot prices, charts, and headlines, thinking that tells the story. It doesn't. Spot prices are just a reflection of immediate trades. They're a reference point, not the pulse of the market. What actually drives gold and silver, especially in 2026, is the physical flow, the structural tensions, and the behavior of the participants who can't be ignored. Physical supply is a layered system. Inventory exists at multiple points. Mints, wholesalers, dealers. Shipping schedules take time. Risk management decisions create friction. When demand spikes, these layers don't move in unison. Premiums stretch first, popular items go on back order next, and soon buyers are scrambling for anything available. That's when a market starts to feel tight before the spot price catches up. Most analysis online misses this because it assumes liquidity is infinite. It assumes you can buy or sell at will. That's rarely true in a fast-moving market. Pauses in mint sales, temporary back orders, or sudden spikes in premiums aren't mistakes. They're warnings. The system is straining, and once buyers perceive scarcity, demand accelerates, creating a feedback loop. Scarcity begets urgency. Urgency begets more scarcity. And suddenly, the market is moving faster than anyone expected. Beyond physical mechanics, systemic pressures are quietly building. Debt is a self-feeding engine. Interest on existing obligations demands more borrowing, creating more interest obligations. Treasury auctions showing weak demand aren't just headlines. They are cracks in the foundation of global finance. Commercial real estate, financed under assumptions that no longer exist, carries hidden leverage, waiting for stress to reveal it. And global currency experimentation quietly reduces demand for dollars, shifting balance sheets and adding inflationary pressure at the edges. Behavior is the overlooked multiplier. Early participants, traders, informed buyers, small but decisive actors, create the first waves. The crowd responds emotionally, not logically. That's why minor triggers, a weak auction, a policy tweak, a geopolitical signal, can explode into major moves. It's not the event itself, but the alignment of underlying pressure points with participant behavior that accelerates the reaction. Another blind spot, interpreting pullbacks. In a structurally tight market, a price retracement is often an opportunity, not a trap. Waiting for a perfect dip risks missing the broader trend. Markets don't move linearly, they move in layers. Tension builds, pressure releases briefly, then accelerates. Understanding the difference between normal volatility and structural stress is what separates informed action from reactive panic. Finally, trust drives everything. Trust in currencies, institutions, and counterparties is weakening. Gold and silver respond not to inflation numbers, but to confidence decay. Paper markets can be manipulated, restricted, or delayed, but physical demand reveals the truth in real time. Those who see these signals early are not gambling. They're observing systemic stress and acting rationally. Most people miss this because they chase headlines, charts, or past patterns. They overlook behavior, infrastructure, scarcity, and confidence. And when the crowd finally reacts, it doesn't feel gradual. It feels sudden. That's the risk and the opportunity hidden in plain sight. If Phase 1 showed us the early move and Phase 2 revealed what most people miss, Phase 3 is where the tension becomes tangible. This is where markets stop feeling like numbers on a screen and start behaving like living systems, stretched, stressed, and ready to snap. The first thing to understand is layering. Pressure in a market rarely comes from a single point. It accumulates quietly, often unnoticed, in multiple places simultaneously. Debt levels rise, leverage compounds, credit spreads widen, and physical supply tightens. Individually, these are manageable. Together, they create a lattice of risk that can amplify any minor event. Markets respond to accumulated pressure, not isolated headlines. Consider the physical metal market. Premiums are already stretched, back orders are mounting, and inventory is disappearing faster than most participants realize. Mints pause sales, dealers ration supply, and popular products vanish within hours. This isn't volatility, it's structural stress. The crowd sees this as scarcity, which fuels urgency, which drives more scarcity, forming a self-reinforcing loop. That SY, what looks like a small event, like a temporary pause in mint operations, can ripple across the entire market. Systemic pressures are intensifying at the same time. Treasury markets, the bedrock of global finance, are showing subtle signs of strain, weaker demand, softer auctions, and cautious buyers. Commercial real estate, built under assumptions of cheap debt and high occupancy, now faces refinancing at higher rates, creating hidden cracks in balance sheets. Global experiments in currency diversification quietly reduce foreign demand for dollars, tightening local liquidity. Each pressure point alone could be absorbed. Together, they elevate the risk exponentially. Behavioral dynamics amplify this pressure. Early movers act rationally, informed buyers position ahead of trends. But the crowd, the latecomers, react emotionally. They don't analyze, they respond. And when a trigger arrives, minor or routine, the system can shift rapidly. It might be a surprise auction result, a central bank facility adjustment, or even a geopolitical flare-up. The trigger is small, the response is massive because pressure has already built underneath. Pullbacks in this phase are deceptive. They feel like relief, but in reality, they're often prefaces to acceleration. Markets under structural stress don't move in straight lines. They build tension, release briefly, then leap higher. Waiting for the perfect moment during this stage often means missing the opportunity entirely. Success comes from recognizing tension, layering exposure gradually, and positioning before the emotional crowd arrives. Trust, or the lack of it, is the invisible fuel. Confidence in fiat currencies, institutions, and counterparties is eroding. Gold and silver are responding not to inflation headlines, but to a deepening skepticism. Physical demand surges because tangibility becomes paramount. Paper assets are limited by rules, counterparty risk, and liquidity constraints. Physical metals are immediate and indisputable. Phase 3 is where patience, planning, and awareness meet opportunity. The pressure is visible to those paying attention, but invisible to those distracted by noise. Recognizing this accumulation and knowing where it can release is the edge. Because when the trigger eventually arrives, the system will snap, the crowd will flood in, and positions will be repriced faster than anyone expects. This is the heartbeat of a market on the brink. Layered tension, constrained supply, and a crowd poised to react. Understand it, respect it, and you see the game unfolding before everyone else does. Every market has a pressure limit. The difference between a slow grind and an explosive surge isn't always obvious, but it exists, and it's called the trigger zone. This is the point where latent stress, accumulated over months, intersects with sudden action. It's where structural tension meets behavioral momentum, and where small events can create outsized reactions. Triggers rarely arrive with fireworks. They're quiet, almost mundane on the surface. A weak treasury auction, a subtle policy shift, an unexpected liquidity facility, or a minor default in an overleveraged sector. But the system is primed. Debt is high, leverage is layered, confidence is fragile, and supply is thin. And when the trigger appears, the reaction is magnified, often catching the majority off guard. Behavior matters more than the trigger itself. Early movers, traders, informed investors, and institutions have already positioned themselves. They understand scarcity, know the infrastructure limits, and are watching the indicators. The crowd, however, arrives late and emotional. Once the first sparks hit, fear of missing out accelerates participation. The moment one or two ignite, the system amplifies the pressure. Markets under tension are unforgiving. A small misstep, an assumption that liquidity is infinite or reliance on perfect timing, can leave participants behind. Those who watch behavior, supply, and systemic stress can act decisively, while the rest react. The trigger zone is where strategy meets awareness. It's not about chasing headlines or reacting emotionally. It's about knowing the system is primed and being ready when the spark inevitably appears. Because when it does, there's no slow build. The pressure releases fast, the crowd floods in, and opportunities that seem distant suddenly become immediate. Here's the part most people miss. The next major move might not start where you expect. It might not begin in metals, the dollar, or headline-grabbing events. Sometimes it starts in the quiet corners of the system. Routine filings, subtle reallocations by large institutions, or slow shifts in collateral that rarely make the news. By the time anyone notices, the market is already repricing. This flips a common assumption that volatility is always dramatic, that crises announce themselves loudly. In reality, real shifts often start quietly. A pension fund reallocates quietly, a foreign holder trims treasury exposure, or a central bank adjusts its gold holdings behind the scenes. On the surface, nothing seems significant, but beneath, the system has been nudged, pressures realigned, and the dominoes begin to tip. The reframe is simple but powerful. Markets are not just about price, they're about confidence. Gold and silver don't rise simply because of inflation numbers or rate cuts. They rise because trust erodes, supply tightens, and the crowd reacts emotionally to signals others ignore. They are barometers of systemic stress, not just vehicles for gain. Here's the mind shift. Waiting for confirmation is often too late. By the time mainstream media blesses a move, the easy positioning window is gone. Early signals, behavioral shifts, supply constraints, subtle cracks in the system matter far more than headlines. Observing these quietly accumulating pressures is where foresight comes from. Finally, think of gold and silver not as investments, but as options, real assets that operate outside the control of the system. They don't promise gains, they provide resilience. They allow you to step aside from systemic decay, to preserve trust in a world where paper promises lose credibility. The ultimate lesson? The next move isn't about chasing numbers. It's about understanding the undercurrents, seeing the invisible stress points, and recognizing that the system's behavior often tells the story before the price does. Markets rarely scream, they whisper first, and only the attentive hear it. That's your advantage.